The Kenny Quest Show was filmed live in front of a canned studio audience.
What's going on, guys? Hope you're having a good week. Thanks for joining me. This week we're talking about the Indian Sport Chief. That's right. Harley-Davidson's under fire from another competitor. We're going to hit the road as I head to my local dealer for their weekend demo days. I'm going to test ride some new 2023 Harley-Davidsons. Today we're on the 1996 FLS-TN Heritage Softail Special, the Franken Glide. It's got a deluxe tail end, Road King bags, Fat Boy badging and tank, and the Street Stalker kit, front end the seal. That was available back in the day, running the 83 cubic inch Evo engine, the best engine Harley's ever made, right? Let me know down in the comments. So let's get it started. As you know, it's got carburation back in the day, right? But we put a new petcock in. So we're going to pull out the choke, open up the fuel to on, give it some power, make sure it's in neutral, a couple squirts. Oh yeah. Starts right up. Love it. So it's been sitting for about a week, but before, if it sat for a week, I would have had to have done that about a half dozen times, then it would eventually start. Shout out to Wanderemoto, my independent mechanic, for all his help in this process. Push in the choke, and you have arguably the best exhaust sound at idle that Harley-Davidson makes. Hell yeah, baby. A real machine. And that brings us to Indian. Is that a real machine? Totem poles and pecking orders. Basically, that's what it boils down to with the Indian Chief Sport release. You know, with the release of the Harley-Davidson FLX RST last year, with the 117 and the Sport Glide bags, that redesign, or that modification and adjustment to what was already an excellent platform in the FXLRS, Lowrider S, kind of sent a shockwave, if you will, through the Harley-Davidson cruiser community for guys that like to ride softails. You got people on Dyna selling their Dynas now, hopping on the M8 train. The M8 platform's fairly mature at this point. It debuted in 2017 on the touring platform, so it's been out 5 years. And so now the competitors are coming out of the woodwork. Last week it was Buell and their announcement of the Super Cruiser. If you saw my video on that, I was all over that, and I still am. I think that's a great platform. I'm going to see those guys in Daytona. I put down my $50 slot deposit. It's a lightweight bike, but that was a concept. That was a prototype. You look at the master cylinder reservoirs. They're made out of plastic, something you'd find on, you know, an inexpensive Japanese bike. That exhaust is probably not going to be EPA compliant, that SC Project exhaust. That's an aftermarket exhaust. I mean, is there a catalytic converter anywhere? I don't know. I understand that engine is special and it's got certain EPA compliance built in. So I'm not speaking from a point of being highly educated on the Rotex engine and their platform. I'm going to find all that information out in Daytona. But what Indian has done this week is released a bike that out of the box pretty much comes fully accessorized. And if you want to just personalize it a little bit more, maybe taller risers, on their website they got a configurator. It's like drop, click, boom, that's the price. You know exactly what you're spending. You don't have to design anything. With Harley, you have to go out to the third party, or you got to talk to someone at the parts counter at your Harley dealer if you're not sure about things. So having gone through all of that with this bike, doing a lot of research on parts, whether they're going to work for me or not, and coming from my position as a newer motorcycle rider, I've never been through a bike build before, so I'm designing this bike on the fly. Indian's done all that work for you, so I find that attractive. But what I do find really funny is their commercials and the way they came about to launch. So basically they have a press release on social media of these produced commercials that they did to identify their target market and send a message. And the message is about respect and being cool and living out your fantasies. How cool it is to ride a motorbike with your friends. and that camaraderie of a certain element of the motorcycling segment. And having talked to people on Facebook and Instagram on their posts, some of these people don't understand what these guys are. They don't know what a Dyna Bro is. They're like, those aren't proper shoes. Those aren't riding boots. And I'm like, that's part of the culture. And they're like, no, every bike club guy that I've seen always has boots on. I'm like, no, it's not MC culture. It's Dyna Bro culture, which stems from the skateboarding culture, the BMX culture, and the surfing culture. When we were kids, that's how we dressed. We surfed on the beach when there was waves. When there wasn't waves, we'd ride skateboards. And in between, we'd ride BMX bikes and race them. And that culture came out and infiltrated motorcycles as everybody got in their 20s and 30s. But this culture, this Dyna Bro thing, this has been out since the 2000s, mid-2000s, Sons of Anarchy. So they're bringing back the whole Sons of Anarchy mixing with the Dyna Bro, and I just thought these commercials were just playing on some stereotypes. We're just laughable. It's like Indian has taken the Dyna Bro culture and has like put a stamp on it. It's like, yeah, we own that. We did that. We established that in 1901, baby. And they take a slice of the culture, which is building your own Dyna and your FXR, you know, your 15, 20, 30-year-old bike, and then accessorizing it and making it club style. That's what that culture is all about. It's not about buying it brand new off the showroom floor as a club style bike. That's never what it's been. That bike wasn't offered, and that's why the culture was the culture. And then Harley said, well, this is what's been going on. We're going to go ahead and release a bike like that. So Indian's like, okay, we're just going to adopt this and say, yeah, this is what it's like. We're going to put guys in a garage and we're going to show them working with these brand new parts, like they're going to be assembling their club style bike. And then they open the garage door and it's brand new bikes. That doesn't make any sense. And they're working with schematics and stuff. It's not like they're engineers. They look like Dyna Bros. They're showing visual imagery that they're working on the parts, like they're going to put on the exhaust and they're going to make these wheels and all this stuff. And then the garage door opens up and it's brand new bikes. And the exhaust note on these stock bikes miraculously sound better than any other stock bike ever released ever in the EPA regulation era. How does that work? Well, newsflash for you guys. You can overlay audio on anything. And that exhaust note is not the note. Harley does it too. They did it on their Lowrider S commercial last year. And I'm like, that's not how a stock Milwaukee 8 sounds. It sounds like a sewing machine. So I made my own Indian Sport Chief product launch commercial. I'm gonna go roll it. Here it is.
When your parents have a garage and tools but you have no real knowledge on how to use them. Forget about reading the instructions. You flunked out of middle school, but with mommy and daddy's good credit and the need to get you off the couch and out of the house, they bought you and your friends motorcycles. You have no idea what this does. Now you can play out your Sons of Anarchy childhood fantasy in real life. Play hard. Ride hard. Don't get caught up in the rat race. Just chill with your bros. This bro doesn't ride, so he won't notice it's not a low rider S. the 2023 Indian Sport Chief. Performance is bought. Respect is paid for. Club-style apparel and riding gear sold separately.
So what's going on with Harley-Davidson in response to the news of the Sport Chief and the week before the Buell Super Cruiser? Are they concerned? Are they scared? No, actually stocks went up with the news. Competition is good for everybody. But I put together some of this week's news headlines on the heels of the Indian Sport Chief launch. So let's check them out.
Kenny Quest Show News, where you hear it second.
Harley-Davidson stocks soar today with the announcement by competitor Polaris of their Indian Chief Sport.
Harley stocks are up on the news. Some reports say wokeism is stifling Indian motorcycle sales.
From the opening bell, the market for hog was in a frenzy.
Harley-Davidson showing signs of continuing growth this morning. The motorcycle maker posted revenue of $1.73 billion.
Traders saying this is the craziest day they have ever seen it, saying they've never seen anything like it.
What the heck is going on down here?
Harley-Davidson has a potential upside of 39.80% and an average consensus analyst price target of $48.09.
Once this body started in motion, it was very, very difficult to put the brakes on.
But not so fast, some analysts say. Indian may have one-upped Harley-Davidson with the new Sport Chief.
Has Indian finally found the customer base it needs to inject new growth? For more on this story, let's go to Cindy Snow, who is joining us from downtown Milwaukee. Cindy.
Thank you, Roxy. I'm here in downtown Milwaukee in the heart of Harley-Davidson asking random motorcyclists what they think about Indian Sport Chief. Would you buy it?
No.
I mean, who is Indian kidding this a total copy of the Lowrider S? It is really sad to see Indian go in this direction.
It is riders like that who give motorcyclists a bad name on the street.
Would you buy it?
I don't know, but I think the bike would absolutely rip.
I would not trade my Royal Enfield in for that.
Well, that's it from Milwaukee. I'm Cindy Snow reporting. Back to you, Roxy.
Representatives at Indian could not be reached for comment.
So I did a poll this week on which bike would you rather buy? Buell Super Cruiser, Harley-Davidson Lowrider S, or the Indian Sport Chief? I did the poll on Instagram and on YouTube under my community tab, and here's the results. Instagram said Harley-Davidson, and YouTube said Buell. So really cool to see Buell on top of the survey results. Indian third on both. Of course, a lot of you out there enjoy Harley-Davidson like myself, but that poll for Buell was pretty cool. And even on the Instagram poll where they scored second, they weren't blown out of the water like Indian was. So it just tells me Indians, And I plan to do the survey a couple more times this year just to see if the results change. But as far as the package, it looks pretty awesome. And if you're a guy that doesn't have a garage, doesn't want to modify their own bike, the Sport Chief is a good option for you. It's a good option for me because I don't have a lift. I don't have the patience right now to go through a Dyna build, a FXR build. I mean, these opportunities are out there for me. I've seen them, but right now it's just not the right time. I just got done with this build and I want to enjoy this for a while. I don't want to go right into another build. And so having a bike that's 85-90% out of the box, all it needs is an exhaust and a cam. I would get the taller risers. That's pretty cool. I mean, you could do that with a Harley, right? So it's nothing unique, but they make it so easy. So if Brad Richards, VP of Styling at Harley-Davidson, if you're watching this, why not put on a configurator on your website? You're going to sell more accessories. You talked about the launch video about they're not selling enough accessories, so they're putting emphasis on the Empire series and all that kind of stuff. Do something. Do a configurator on the website where I can design my own accessory package using the Harley-Davidson catalog, which is huge. Yeah, you can look up individual parts and it'll tell you if it's compatible with your bike. That's a good first step. But to have something where I can just build my bike, have a build sheet, would be awesome. So kudos to Indian, big tomahawk chop for that feature on your website. I appreciate it. So joking aside, I really feel that Indian Chief has something here that might appeal to Harley riders. What I like about it is some of the differences that makes it unique from a Harley product. Now with the engine, it's air-cooled, so it's got the fins. I love air-cooled engines and how they look, the architecture. And the architecture of the Indian Thunderstroke engine is beautiful. The fact that you get reservoir shocks out of the box, pretty cool. Riser MX motobar, two-piece concept is fantastic. But the big thing that I see with their product is the technology. You're getting what you would typically find only in a water-cooled product or a touring product from Harley-Davidson. Indian is giving you in their intermediary line that technology. So give a quiver of arrows to Indian for the technology, the piggyback shocks, and the ride ergos on the handlebar end of it. The matte finish I'm not a big fan of. To me, everybody I've talked to that's bought matte finish bikes, it's like, you know, yeah, a lot of maintenance upkeep and got to be careful. In a couple months, I'll post another video on my first impressions of that. And then I got to make a decision at some point. Obviously, I put my money in for the slot deposit on the Buell Super Cruiser, so I'm committed to a slot. But it's $50, so, you know, whatever. The specs on that bike are insane. It's so lightweight, high horsepower. And then the Lowrider S and Lowrider ST, they're there. It's just if the dealers would stop overcharging for those bikes. But that's a different video for a different discussion. At least Indian's recognizing the fact that we can give you something pretty much turnkey. So that's got me intrigued. So we'll see what happens in April when I do the demo day at my local Indian dealer and how it compares to the Lowrider S and Lowrider ST on my demo ride. Until then, thanks a lot for coming along with me on this one. Click the box down below to see my video on the Buell Super Cruiser in case you haven't seen it yet. Covers the launch and the news headlines from that day's events. Remember, keep that shiny side up. We'll see you next time.
I'm Kenny Quest. Thanks for watching. If you like Harley-Davidson products, the Harley-Davidson lifestyle, follow my channel, where I embark on a journey of a lifetime, diving headfirst into motorcycle culture, modifying my Harley-Davidson motorcycles, traveling, and having a good time. If you like my vibe, I encourage you to subscribe. See you next time.